It all began with a disturbing phone call to the police. A woman reported that her ex-boyfriend had been threatening her life, warning that if something happened, people would remember it for a long time. At the time, no one knew that years later, that same man would be connected to one of the most haunting crimes in Texas. This is the story of Haley Dunn, a 13-year-old girl from Colorado City, a small town where nearly everyone knew each other. Haley was known as bright, energetic, fearless, and full of personality. She loved sports, played the saxophone, enjoyed school, and had a natural way of making friends. She was the kind of person who brought life wherever she went. But behind the image of a normal childhood, things at home were far more complicated. After her parents separated, Haley moved in with her mother, Billie Jean Dunn, her older brother, and her mother's boyfriend, Sean Atkins. Even so, Haley remained extremely close to her father, Clint Dunn, who lived nearby. She visited him constantly, sometimes just to say hello, other times to spend hours with him. During Christmas of 2010, Haley seemed happy and excited. She had received gifts she loved, including a brand new iPod. Family members said she was smiling, joking, and in great spirits. No one imagined those would be some of her final days alive. On the morning of December 27th, Haley's mother left early for work. Sean also left soon after. According to them, Haley was still asleep when they went out. They assumed she would wake up later and go to her father's house like she usually did. But that day, she never arrived. Clint immediately felt something was wrong. Haley always checked in or showed up. Hours passed with no sign of her. Later that evening, Sean claimed he had returned home during the afternoon and saw Haley leave on foot. He said she told him she was heading to her father's house and then planned to stay overnight with a friend. There was one problem. Her father said she never came by. The next day, the friend's family confirmed Haley had not stayed there either. Even more troubling, important belongings were still inside Haley's bedroom, suggesting she never planned to leave for the night. When the disappearance was reported, police first considered Haley a runaway. That decision caused anger throughout the community, as friends and relatives insisted she would never vanish without telling someone. As days turned into weeks, the town united to search for her. Volunteers combed through fields, roadsides, empty lots, and wooded areas. Posters went up everywhere. Local news stations followed every development, but while many were searching desperately, certain behavior raised suspicions. Haley's father spent every waking hour looking for his daughter. Witnesses said Billie Jean and Sean seemed strangely detached from the searches. Sean rarely participated. Then, just days after Haley vanished, a New Year's Eve gathering took place at their home. Many locals were shocked. As investigators dug deeper, troubling details about the household surfaced. There had been previous domestic disturbances involving Billie Jean and Sean. Police had responded to arguments and threats before Haley disappeared. People close to Haley said she did not trust Sean and was uncomfortable around him. Her grandmother later shared something chilling. Haley had reportedly said she sometimes saw Sean's shadow outside her bedroom door at night and feared he would come inside while she slept. That statement changed everything. Investigators began focusing more closely on those inside the home. Billie Jean and Sean agreed to polygraph examinations, but the process quickly became controversial. Authorities said some answers suggested deception. Sean walked out before fully completing the test. At one point, when asked where he believed Haley might be, he reportedly answered only, "in Scurry County." That response stunned investigators. Phone records created even more doubt. Sean's timeline of where he had been that day did not match data from cell towers. His claimed movements appeared inconsistent, weakening his alibi significantly. Then, another disturbing discovery emerged. Authorities found illegal material and disturbing crime-related content connected to devices associated with the household. While it did not directly solve Haley's disappearance, it painted an alarming picture of the environment surrounding the case. Still, no arrest came. Months passed, then years. Searches slowed down. Leads dried up. The case drifted toward becoming another cold file. But Haley's father refused to give up. He continued speaking publicly, pushing investigators, and demanding justice for his daughter. Then, in 2013, a heartbreaking discovery changed the case forever. Human remains found near Lake J.B. Thomas, roughly 20 miles from Colorado City, were identified as Haley Dunn. For her family, any hope that she might still be alive ended in the most painful way possible. Authorities never released every detail publicly, but relatives said they were informed Haley likely died from severe blunt force trauma. Even after that, no one was arrested. Yet Clint Dunn kept fighting. Through interviews, social media, and constant pressure, he refused to let the world forget Haley's name. Private investigators also joined the effort, gathering new information and pushing for action. Then finally, more than 10 years after Haley first disappeared, the case took a dramatic turn. In June 2021, Sean Casey Atkins was arrested and formally charged with Haley Dunn's murder. The news shook Colorado City. For many, it confirmed suspicions they had carried since the beginning. For Clint, it was not a celebration. It was relief that the truth might finally come to light. He said now the courtroom would speak for Haley. This case became a painful reminder that justice delayed can wound families for decades. It also showed the power of persistence when everyone else has moved on. Haley was only 13 years old, a young girl with dreams, talent, and an entire future ahead of her. Her life was taken far too soon. But because her father never stopped fighting, her story was never buried. And maybe that is the strongest lesson of all. When the world stops searching, someone must keep going.